A-Level Paper 1, Specimen Set 2. Group 2 elements. The chemistry of group 2 elements. Write an equation for the reaction between calcium with water at 25 degrees C. Predict a possible value for the pH this solution formed. Well, group 2, to start off with, let's have a look. Calcium's a metal, so elements in group 1, 2 and 3 tend to be metals, and the transition metals as well. So on the left of the periodic table, we know it's in group 2, so we know that it's got 2 electrons in its outer shell. It's going to form a 2+ ion. Hydroxide is OH1-, so oxygen's in oxidation state -2 because it's in group 6 and gains 2 electrons. Hydrogen's in group 1, so loses 1 electron +1, so 2- and a +1 leaves a 1-, so OH- for hydroxide. And so 2+ and 1- aren't going to cancel each other out, so we need Ca2 plus OH- twice, so CaOH2. So your reaction is calcium plus water making CaOH2, and it's also going to make hydrogen. So any metal with water, a metal plus water, makes hydrogen gas. And to balance it, we'll need 2 waters. Now, a strong base or a strong alkali, something like sodium hydroxide or potassium hydroxide, would have a pH that maybe goes up to 13 or 14. But this is a weaker alkali or a weaker base, so it's going to have pHs above 7, but not up to 13 or 14, something like somewhere between 8 and 12 would get you the mark. State the trend in solubility of the group 2 sulfates from magnesium to barium. Well, if you can remember that barium sulfate is used for a barium meal. So barium sulfate is a solid that will sit in your gut and allow an X-ray, allow your gut to be X-rayed, so allow soft tissue to be X-rayed because it's highly insoluble. So barium sulfate is insoluble. So down at the bottom where barium is, where they're insoluble, up to the top something like magnesium hydroxide, which is more soluble. So the trend is that they decrease down to barium sulfate, which is highly insoluble. State the reagent used for the presence of sulfate ions. So to make barium sulfate, you'd use something like barium chloride, and therefore barium chloride Ba2+, it's in group 2, Ba2+, reaction sulfate ions SO42-, Ba2+ plus SO42- to make barium sulfate BaSO4. It's just BaSO4 because 2+ and 2- cancel each other out. Explain why the melting point of calcium sulfate is high. We've already said that barium sulfate is Ba2 plus SO42-, so you've got ions, oppositely charged ions, similar in Ca2 plus calcium 2 plus calcium ions. You've got ionic bonding between ions, oppositely charged ions that attract strongly.